Hello, everyone. So welcome to Motivate Community Show, a place to meet spectacular speakers and thought leaders in your community. My name is Ivana and I'm your host today. And today we are here in Shanghai and we are going to talk with one of the, I would say, well-known foreigners in Shanghai who will be holding a workshop for our community about meditation. So for everybody wanting to know more about this topic, how to meditate, who tried it and maybe feel like, I can learn something more about this, or I want to continue, or I want to try different types of meditation. So now is your opportunity. Through this short interview, you'll have a little bit more knowledge as we talk with this expert. So as every time, I will shortly introduce him to you, and then he will share about his workshop and his work. So Fionn Wright is named by City Weekend magazine as one of the 11 most influential movers and shakers in Shanghai. He has filmed an internationally award-winning documentary about Chinese business. And worked in Africa, Europe, North America, South America, Asia, so all over the world as a business trainer and personal coach before settling here in Shanghai and becoming the youngest mindfulness, NLP, and neuroscience coach in the world. And wow, so the youngest in the world, that's huge. And bilingual Chinese TV personality with over 100 million views. So I'm very happy to be talking with him today. And hi, Fionn.
Hi, Ivana. Wonderful to be here.
So please, if I miss something, say something more. But this is very, every part that I was reading, I felt like, I want to know more about you because you're so young and so successful. So please tell us a little bit more, maybe how you came to Shanghai, and maybe you want to comment on something I said.
Well, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I very much appreciate that. For me, success, the word success, what does it mean, right? When it comes to success for me, a lot of it, I think straight to my family, right? I have 2 little boys and I homeschool them. And so I spend a lot of time with them. And for me, that was like the absolute success in my life, is how I'm getting to sort of nurture them as they grow up. The difficulty for me has been, how do I create a lifestyle where I can spend as much time with them as possible? And so really that's where I feel my success has been, not in sort of big grand success, but more in terms of control over my time and when I get to work and where I get to work from and all that. So these days I travel around the world. I spend about a third of my time here in Shanghai, a third of my time in Ireland, and a third of my time in Canada. And I bring my kids with me, and we travel around the world with my wife, and we have a family vlog. We have about 30,000 viewers on Chinese social media, and we share our life with them. And, parenting techniques and how we can live the kind of life that we want to live. And for me, that's what it comes down to. We live in a world these days where we have options. We don't have to follow the traditional path. And so I live a very alternative lifestyle. In just about a month, we're heading off to Canada, and I'll be buying a caravan. I'll be traveling around North America with the family for a few months, just to let them get into nature and experience the world. So for me, that's what success is about, but that's my own personal sort of understanding of it. And I've been lucky along the way. I've met a lot of really wonderful people and learned from some fantastic mentors. And these days, I focus mostly on coaching. So I have clients all over the world, pretty much every continent, except for South America at the moment. And it's pretty much all online. So I just have clients and we sort of meet up, and I do sort of sessions with them and help guide them through. It can be anything, really. It mostly tends to be entrepreneurs who are interested in either, scaling their business or automating it somehow so they can do something they find more meaningful, or executives who are looking to kind of step out of what they're doing at the moment and do something, again, more meaningful, either by setting up their own company or going freelance or getting into an industry that they really care about. So I'm running this workshop about meditation because it's one of the things that a lot of my coaching clients, they ask me about. What type of meditation should I do? Or, I've tried meditation so many times and I don't know if I'm doing it right. And two, I just keep getting distracted, right? And it's kind of like, well, that's kind of the point of meditation, right? Is to learn how to not be distracted. I remember when I set up my first business here in Shanghai, which was five years ago now, 6 years ago now. It was a wonderful studio out of our house. It was the first year that my son was born. And we had this, my wife is a dancer, so she did dance and I would teach meditation and run workshops. And I remember we did this one workshop that I called Meditation 2.0, which is the same name as the workshop I'll be running for Motivate. And it was fascinating because we promoted out on WeChat and there were so many people that were interested. We had about 70 people in our living room, right? If you can imagine that.
Wow.
And there was like a nice circle around me. Sort of, I sat in the middle, I had a mirror behind me. So it almost looked like a circle, but it was a semicircle. And then there was people like layers, right? Like standing up behind those people and standing up and like standing up way behind. And it was fascinating to see how many people were interested in meditation, because it's one of those things where it's like, you talk to people, it's kind of like, well, is it really a fun topic? Maybe more in the boring category. But the way that I look at it is meditation could be fun. In fact, it's my favorite thing to do. I love spending time with my kids and I love playing with them. I love meditation even more. So it's absolutely something that drives me to, like, a lot of people say, I meditate so that I can be more productive at work, right? And for me, it's more about like, I get my work done so that I can meditate. But it hasn't always been like that. I think I started off like everyone else in terms of trying to learn, what meditation is about and how it works, and not knowing if I was doing it right. And I've been lucky to have some wonderful mentors along the way who've guided me and helped me know what I was doing right and what I could be doing better. And I'm a little bit different, I think, than most meditation practitioners in that I don't have like a lineage. Like most meditation practitioners, they'll be like transcendental meditators or Zen practitioners or mindfulness-based meditators. And I've sort of tasted and sampled a lot of different types. These days, I practice pretty consistently about 30 types of meditation. And some of those are ones that I've just learned from other people. Some of them I've invented myself. And what I find is the more time I spend inside, the more subtle, the more nuanced the inner experience becomes. And the more I find different ways of exploring what it means to be alive in this world today. And so what I find with a lot of my coaching clients is they start off being like, how do I do it right? And the first piece is really different types of meditation suit different types of people, right? We know from NLP that we're visual learners, or we're auditory learners, or we're kinesthetic learners. And so that already separates into 3 different types. So there's 3 different forms that actually suit people best. But then there's also all these different multiple intelligences. Some of it's more about, musical intelligence, some of it's mathematical intelligence, visual, spatial intelligence. So we have all these different types of intelligences as well. And then we also have, the uniqueness of being a human being. So each of us really experiences reality in a slightly different way. And so what I like to do with my coaching clients is saying, well, instead of saying this is the best meditation technique, we say, well, let's experiment. Let's try a few and see which works best for you. And so then we try a few different types and they say, well, that one, I really liked it, but it took me a while to get into it. Or that one, it was a bit difficult for me at the beginning, but once I was really relaxed, then it helped me go really deep, right? And so what we do then is we say, okay, what are the types of meditation like at the beginning of the meditation that really work well to get you relaxed, right? What are the ones that bring you inside? And then sort of the ones that really take you deep, then we can add some of those in the middle. And then to finish off, what are the ones that really, make you feel good at the end or help you sort of come out of it with some sort of result that you feel like you've spent your time valuably. And so I sort of work with people to find what are those different types that suit them, and their psyche and their experience of reality, and then help them get into a routine of it, right? Because that's really the value of meditation. A lot of people say it's similar to exercise, right? Like, oh, I'll do one long meditation session a week. And it's like, well, if you just did 5 minutes every day, that would probably be a lot better. Because that consistency, you rewire your brain and you begin to experience reality in a different way. Same sort of thing with exercise, right? Like if you exercise for an hour a day, or an hour a week versus, just 5 minutes, but do it every day, then your body gets used to it and you get into that healthy sort of mode of living. And then you can exercise more. And same thing with meditation. If you're doing 5 minutes a day consistently, and it's like, well, I could do 10 minutes and then I could do 20 minutes. Right? And then, the world is your oyster. You can go further on from there. So anyway, I've shared a lot. I'd love to hear what else you're interested in and what else I could share that would be valuable for the people who are watching.
Yes, sure. So thank you for sharing. I felt like, every time I talk with someone who is so mindful, it's like you're already answering the question I want to ask, with each step. So it's like you're reading my mind. But what you shared from the beginning about your business, about how you got into meditation, I guess it's all connected, right? The way you live, like you said, every day a little. And when you mentioned having some kind of physical practice, I very much relate to this because I have something I call 1 minute yoga. And everybody laughs when they hear this. But the truth is, you cannot do just 1 minute. When you start doing it and consistently every day, this 1 minute becomes 5 minutes, and I feel like the same is with meditation, right? If you do it consistently. So maybe my question is if someone really wants to do meditation, but they feel like I'm overworked, I come from my job, I'm so tired. In the morning here in Shanghai, you need to wake up so early, and maybe have 1 hour or more to come to work. And also when you go back, it's around 6, 7 when you come home, if you are lucky. And is there something you would like to say, how to start consistently with meditation?
Yeah, beautiful question. And I love that idea of the 1 minute yoga, right? That's such a great concept because you're absolutely right. It's just the consistency. And then if you do 1 minute, it's like, well, I could just do 5 minutes, right? It's not that different. But if you start with saying, oh, I have to do half an hour every day, then it's like, do I have half an hour? No. I don't know. And then by the time you're thinking about it, the time has already passed. And you're like, oh, I don't have time today. So the consistency, that piece is really important. And the other piece here I would say is meditation. I mean, this is arguably similar to exercise, depending on how you exercise, but meditation doesn't have to be done in a Buddha posture, on a special place in the mat in your bedroom. And, you can do meditation anywhere, right? Literally anywhere. If you're commuting to work, I don't care if you're on the subway or you're driving a scooter or you're walking to work, those are all beautiful ways that you can meditate, right? And so it's less about saying, let me put time aside to meditate and let me bring in meditation as a part of my daily routine. And I find that works much better with people. We stick to, and this is with most habits, but we stick to one specific thing that they do every single day, right? And at least during the week, right? Every single day they will commute to work, right? Or every single day, the beautiful one is brushing their teeth, right? So what is one single thing that you absolutely do every day? And how can you tie your meditation practice to that thing so that either you don't start the thing before finishing your meditation, or once you're finished that thing, then you start your meditation immediately, right? So for example, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is brush your teeth, you'll say, well, I can do 1 minute of meditation before brushing my teeth. Or if you decide that actually, I'm just going to do it while I'm brushing my teeth, it's about, can I brush my teeth mindfully, right? Can I maybe look at myself in the mirror and just focus on one point, right? Look at myself straight in the eye as I'm brushing my teeth for, a minute. And that already is starting to sort of zero in on, wow, I'm being aware of how I'm interacting with the world around me. I'm being aware of what I'm aware of, right? That's mindfulness. And so if you can do it in that way, it doesn't actually take any extra time out of your day, right? You brush your teeth anyway, so you might as well do it there. Or, it even could be, going for lunch, right? Like if you say, well, the morning and the evening are hectic, well, do you go for lunch every day? And if you do, then either the walk to the place where you have lunch, just do like a silent walk, without your phone, ideally, right? Or even put on music, right? And just say, this is my time for music, listening to my music and being mindful of the environment around me. And so I find that those simple things, those are the ones that really help to get into a habit, to get into a routine, instead of trying to say, okay, well, the professionals say that I have to meditate 20 minutes in the evening and 20 minutes in the morning, and I have to do it like this. Now, if you can do that, fantastic. But if you can't, and that's a bit much, start small, and do it in a way that actually doesn't take any extra time. And so this is part of the way that I sort of teach meditation. Is it's less about sort of sitting in a Buddha posture, with your hands in lotus position, and it's more about saying, well, what's one part of my day where I could just be mindfully aware, or I could close my eyes and visualize for a few minutes, or I could be in conversation with someone and really focus on being present with them as I'm doing that, right? And in that way, you don't need any extra time. So the time thing's an excuse, right? And there's always going to be excuses. It's more about what's important to you. And if you decide that meditation is something that you have heard a lot about, and you think that it's something that you would like to learn how to do, there's no excuses, right? It's just about doing it.
Right. So it feels like when you were mentioning, like you can do meditation while you are brushing your teeth, while you are having dinner, while you are eating, right? So let's say that we decide, okay, now every day I know I go to work and I'm on subway, and every time I'm on subway, I'm going to meditate. So how is that any different than maybe So my basic question is, what is really meditation for you? Is it being present? Is it being aware of your inside and what is outside of you? So
Great question. I love it. So it could be any of those things. The broad spectrum of things that I would call meditation is anything where you're consciously shifting your state, right? So going from one state to another, but doing it on purpose, as opposed to sometimes we shift from happiness into anger, right? But that happened because we got emotional or because we got triggered by something, right? What I call meditation is about saying, in this specific situation, how do I choose? What state do I choose to be in, right? And so that could be just being present, right? Without sort of, chasing your thoughts. That could be being mindfully aware of your body, like you just mentioned, right? It could be sort of going inside and consciously visualizing something, right? And there's actually an infinite different numbers of types of meditation, right? It's really exciting once you get in, you explore a little bit. So it's not about saying this or that. It's more about the process by which we change states. And as you learn to shift your states, you'll find that actually, most of the time, we just react to the world the way, we wake up and we just do stuff, right? And that's the way that most people react, the way that most people live. But if you can consciously choose, okay, for the next minute, I'm going to be aware of everything I can hear, right? Or for the next minute, I'm just going to look at this one point and I'm not going to avert my gaze, right? Or for the next minute, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to focus on my breathing, right? Those are all different forms of meditation. And there's actually an infinite different forms because you can change into any state. And so this is the beauty of the way that I like to help people learn, is that most people think, one of the things we often think about meditation, I have to go in and just stop thinking about anything. And it's like, well, that's a form of usually Zen type meditation, right? And it's a wonderful, very a deep form of meditation if you can get used to it. But it's also probably not the easiest one to start with because most people haven't gotten to the place where they know how to let go of their thoughts and be blank, right? It takes practice. And one of the beauties of Zen meditation is going through that practice is the practice itself, right? Learning how to do that. But a lot of people will find that boring. I don't want to just sit there and do nothing, right? And so in that way, it's like, okay, well, if you're a different form of learner, then let's find a way that's fun for you. And so in that way, anything where you consciously choose what state that you're in and then consciously focus on maintaining that state for a certain period of time, that's what I would term as meditation.
I love your explanation, because I feel like many people are asking, like, am I doing this right? If I'm not doing it that way, then I'm not really meditating. This is not how experts do it, right? Or, judging like that. But then again, we are in our mind, again, because there is this judgment. So we are just responding to our thoughts again. So I like the way you are saying, like, what is fun for you, right? I really like that, because it gives this ease, what comes natural to you. And I really like this approach. So I really enjoyed talking with you, but we are closing on the interview. This is just a short taste, let's say, of the workshop. And is there some closing thought, maybe something you would like people to know, who are thinking, should I go to this workshop? What is going to be there? Is there something you would like to share?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for watching the video if you've gotten to this point. And secondly, some of you are going to be able to come to the workshop, some of you maybe not. And if you come, I'll be sharing lots of stuff that you'll find interesting. Because I'll be bringing you through lots of different types, you'll for sure find something that resonates with you. And I've sort of designed these different types based on the different types of learning and learning styles and intelligences that we sort of have as a spectrum as human beings. But if you can't make it to the workshop, that's okay too. What I would recommend you do is right after this, right, if you have a minute, or choosing some minute during your day to experiment and to try just focusing on one thing. Now, because we have these devices, right, tied to us, we're like cyborgs these days, right? You can't live without your phone. Part of this process is about saying, it's very easy to get distracted by messages. It's very easy to get distracted by social media. So if you can consciously focus on putting that away for a little while and just being aware of your environment, or being aware of your thoughts, or being aware of your emotions, that's kind of a good place to start, right? So one of the things that I would recommend is starting small, like the 1 minute yoga, right? Just starting small and try it for 1 minute, but then try a few different things, right? Try maybe one that is feeling your internal body, right? Your, like the mindful sensations. Try one that is, as you're eating some food and just sort of tasting the food, really being mindfully aware of the food. Try one where you go inside and you visualize, it could be your past or your future, or it could even be just visualizing, what are the different sort of shapes that appear in my vision when my eyes are closed. Or then even it could be putting on some music, and instead of letting your mind wander into thoughts, just focusing on the music, focusing on listening to the sounds of the music, and experiment like that with a few different types and see which ones tend to be easier for you to focus, which ones get you distracted, and which ones bring you deeper. And the ones that you find difficult, that you often get distracted with, I would hold those off for a bit. Maybe try them later when you've had a bit more practice. The ones that help you make it easy to get focused, I would start with those. Just try and find one or two of those, and then do that a bit more consistently. And then the ones that you find help you to get deeper, just add that on to the end of the one that you find it easy to focus. And then you have your own little type of meditation. It's just a 2-step meditation. Step 1, come focused. Step 2, go a little bit deeper, right? And then it's something that you've invented yourself. It suits you. It's something that you enjoy doing. And I hope that works for you. And I hope if you can come to the workshop that I can see you there.
Great. Thank you, Fionn, for today's interview. I found it very interesting. I feel like many people can take away from these many different types of meditation and really think about what works for me. And maybe start with being gentle towards ourselves, not judging too much if we are doing it our way, because, it works for us. So it's got to be the best way for us, is how I feel. Okay, so inviting you again to visit us in Motivate Shanghai. 9th of April is the workshop, or we have workshops each Tuesday. So thank you once again, Fionn, and goodbye for now.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.